Hello Scorpio, and welcome to your reading. This is a reading for Scorpio who are Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising and Cusp energy of Scorpio. If you don't know where those placements are, Scorpio, you might want to check out the link in the description box down below so that you can go and have a look for yourself and get a better overall bigger picture of what's happening in your life when it comes to the stars and the planets above as well, and what's occurring in the bigger picture. It's always good to know. Also, it helps to have more of a broader picture when it comes to being able to check out your moon sign, your Venus, your rising, or if you're a cusp energy as well, you might want to check out the video previous to this if you're the 0 end of your sign, because you'll be coming out of the Libra energy, and if you're at the 29-degree end of your sign, you'll be moving into the Sagittarius energy for the video that I will be putting out later. So you may want to check them out as well if you are either end of your sign, Scorpio. Also, the actual sun sign itself may not resonate with you, because this is just a general read as well, so you may want to also check those out. If you don't feel that you resonate with this reading, it may make more sense somewhere else for you at this time. Something else may be highlighted for you astrologically on a bigger scale. So this is a reading that is set out in 3 sets of 3. So the top 3 is your recent past or your past energy. It can be from childhood. It's an energy, past energy, that is still here. It's still affecting you, Scorpio, in some way. So that energy is leading into the 3 cards in the middle, which is your present energy, where you're finding yourself at this time, which is then creating the future energy of what is likely to happen from those other 2 energies as well. There is also one other card, which is the taken from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, which is the overall kind of energy for the reading. And the words that I got for you today, Scorpio, as I was doing the meditation with the cards, was let it flow, or go with the flow. It was more like let it flow than go with the flow. Let it flow. And I don't know if that means anything to any of you Scorpios out there, but you did happen to get, as your spirit animal card here, the spider. The spider spirit is saying, make your dreams real. And what's coming through most strongly in this sense is that spider is about creativity, literally. It is about creating whatever it is that you want. The spider creates its own home, it builds its own place to be. It brings its dreams together. It's kind of bringing all those threads of life together to kind of make something bigger, is how it's coming through. Like if there's lots of things that are kind of left hanging, maybe it's time to kind of try and bring them together into a bigger picture. Spider is very much about being very self-sufficient and self-supportive. The spider builds her nest in order to be able to, or her cobweb, in order to be able to catch her own food and take care of herself. So there's also that side of it as well. But a spider can also, it can go with the flow with its cobweb as well. It can literally move from place to place just by kind of throwing its web out there in front of it and following that web wherever it takes it. So I don't know if that's got any meaning to any of you Scorpios out there, but it is very much about creativity. In the Native American Indian mythology, they saw the spider as kind of creating the universe, weaving the universe into being. And the cobweb of light, that we are all attached by this cobweb, and each of us is a kind of light along that. Like if you see a cobweb in the morning dew, where it's kind of covered and the sun hits it, these tiny little sparkles that come off of it. It's kind of similar to that. It's like each one of us is one of those kind of tiny little sparkles of light, all connected by this big cobweb, which is also on a higher level as well. It's also saying that that there is a connection with spirit, there is a connection with a higher energy, a more divine creative source of energy here as well, if you want to open up to that as well. Some of you Scorpios want to open it up and allow that energy in. It will create with you, co-create your dreams together, is how that's coming through. So the first card, Scorpio, that we have for you here is the World, which is all about endings, beginnings, things coming to a close as something else begins. So this could also have something to do with going with the flow, learning to go with the flow. In the very centre there is the World, and over the top of the World is the Jester, the Joker, or the Fool, as he's also known most commonly. And this actually is a smaller depiction of the Fool card in this tarot deck. It hasn't actually come out, but that is how the Fool card looks. It is just kind of a set of clothes. There's no kind of person in those clothes. But of course the Fool is the next card after the World, because the World is that final ending, that final card. So the next step is going back into the Fool energy of kind of taking a leap of faith, moving into something else, letting go of the past, trusting where you're going, possibly even going with the flow. And also, interestingly, with this particular card, it's got all the elements of the, like the three elements of the, like the fire representing the rods, so the water, the cups, the emotion. The fire is creativity. The leaves up there, the greenery, is the coins, nature, the physical reality. And the clouds up here are the depiction of the mind, its swords, it's the thought process, all coming together. And straight after this card, you have the Magician, which again is a card that has all these elements in it, but it's upside down. Now the Magician is a very, very powerful energy. And it is officially the first card in the tarot deck because the Fool has no number. So the Magician is the first energy. And it's usually when the Fool, or which is in this card here, when the Fool is learning how to create by using all of these elements. It's like putting everything together and realizing that this is how everything works. But the Magician here is upside down. If you look, he does have all those elements. He has the cup, he has the pentacle down here, he has the sword over here, and he has the rod, the fire, the creativity. And so we need all of these elements in order to be able to bring things together, to make something happen, to create something. We need the fire of our passion. We need the original kind of thought that sparks the idea, that makes something appealing to us, which is when we then add the emotion. The emotion comes in, which is followed by the fire and the creativity and the drive and the passion. And then it comes into being in the physical world, in the reality. But when it's upside down, it's kind of saying to me that Magician energy is more a case of you not being in control. A bit like being a puppet. I always see this as being either the puppet master as the Magician. You are the puppet master. You have control over your own life. But when it's in reverse, it's more a case of being the puppet who is having their strings pulled. You may not even realize it, but you may be pulled in all directions. It can, you know, it's like your emotions may pull you one way, your creative drive, passion, it could be anger as well, creativity. The fire can be depicted by anger, the swords can also be anger. So it's like that element of, you know, and even with the pentacles as well, you know, how much does the material world, how much control does it have over you? And that's kind of what's coming through for me today. And one of the reasons I'm feeling that today is also because afterwards we have the Page of Wands here. So it feels as though there was a situation where something has ended or did end and something else began in your life. It could have even been like a big ending, like leaving a situation behind, moving somewhere new, creating something like a family, or it could be many different things, Scorpio, that this world card depicts. But it does talk about ending and starting something else, something fresh coming into your life. But because the Magician is straight after it upside down, it feels as though it was a situation where you were kind of, and with the Page here as well, it feels as though the creative energy, the drive, the passion, this could also be a sexual energy as well, something that was very alluring, something that was very magnetic to you, something that you needed to learn more about because it's a page. It's also got these 4 towers here as well, which is kind of coming through as that 4 of Wands energy itself, the 4 of Wands card, which is about stability and security. Creating something strong by your drive, your passion, your desire. But it feels as though this card was very much the driving energy of this situation, whatever this situation was. And because it's a page, it also feels as though it was not very mature. Like there was something immature about it, like there was some kind of illusion around it. But there was also something that you had to learn from it. And I'm also seeing these 2 dragons up the top as well, who are kind of battling with each other. Which is why it kind of feels like there was a it's weird as well. So I'm also seeing 2 hearts up the top there as well. So it could have something to do with a very hot, fiery, passionate relationship. That doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. It could be a business partnership. It could be a family member. It feels more like a business situation, or somebody who you've had some kind of creative dealings with. But it could also be a relationship because of the fact that it is very fiery, very passionate, but immature at the same time. So this could be, Scorpio, either yourself, or because you are, as a Scorpio, a very not fiery necessarily, but you are a very sexual kind of energy. Scorpio rules everything to do with sex, birth, death, rebirth, the genitalia. all that kind of stuff is very scorpionic. So this is coming through as quite a hot, passionate situation, but also one that it doesn't feel as though it kind of feels like ego driven is how it's feeling. And because it's a page, it does feel very immature, as though it was coming from a very kind of, I don't want to say innocent, because I don't think it's innocent so much, and it's not like arrogant or ignorant as well, but it's a place of kind of not really having the full awareness of your actions, of what you were doing, and the consequences possibly of what you were doing in a situation here. Because we also have the Page of Swords in reverse, who actually has come out quite a lot recently, this Page of Swords. I seem to have seen him in the last 3 readings. He seems very popular at the moment. So this is the present energy where you're at this time. Page of Swords, again, particularly when he's upside down, can be very argumentative. It can be an argumentative energy because it's a childlike energy. It's a young energy. It's an energy that needs to learn, to grow, to mature, like this page here. It can be a sense of demanding answers, like a young child wanting to know, tell me why is it like this, how is it like this, why does this happen, how does this happen, how did this happen. It's that kind of energy that I'm feeling here, like a child, and in some way this is a bit more innocent, I would say, than this energy, because this is more to do with the mind and the thought process, the thinking. And you could actually be stuck at this time, Scorpio, in this thought process of just kind of going over the same, like there's something that you've kind of hooked onto or become kind of obsessed with as well. That could also have something to do with this energy as well. But there's like this, it feels like some kind of obsessive drive here. You have to know, you have to have answers, you have to understand it on some level. It has to make sense. And it's not making sense. And it feels as though because of that, this is the card that's in the center of your reading, the 2 of Coins. And I always see the middle card, the center card, as being the most important card in the deck, because it's where the energy is coming out and going into for me. The focus, even though it's only a minor arcana. This Page of Swords could also be a blockage here in your thinking process, or in the flow even of things kind of moving forward for you. Because it does feel as though something has got stagnated, got stuck, with the 2 of Coins in reverse as well. For me, the 2 of Coins is about trying to, similar to the World card, it's kind of trying to move beyond something, make your mind up about something, leave something in the past. It's kind of going backwards and forwards. It can also be trying to juggle too much at once, or trying to keep too many plates up in the air in a way, trying to keep too many things spinning. That kind of energy. Too much on your plate. Feeling like you can't You can't cope with it all, you can't deal with it all, it's all too much. It could also feel like overwhelming at this time in your environment, like something is too much, taking on too much, or you need to make a decision between one thing or another and you don't know which one to pick, or something that keeps pulling you back into the past energy. But after this we have the 9 of Cups. And for me the 9 of Cups in this deck is all about a kind of over-indulgence. It's said to be the card of wish fulfillment and everything coming to you that you want and you need. But it also feels today almost like this kind of ego-driven desire, as I was saying earlier, which is almost like a place like false gold in a way. And I think, again, because you've got this magician energy in reverse as well, it's almost like believing that this is what you want, believing that this is your wishes and your desires, all coming or all manifesting for you. But there's kind of a, for me, there's kind of this overindulgence over how can I put it? Like false gold, fool's gold, in fact, is how it's coming through, like fool's gold. And you may think that you're happy, you may believe that this is what you wanted, you've got the success that you wanted, Scorpio, but for some reason it doesn't feel as though it's satisfying. And again, it kind of goes back to this energy here of this kind of ego-driven belief with this magician card of getting what you want. And again, it just feels like believing that you're happy in some level, but when in fact it's like a false happiness is how it's coming through for me. And then you have the 3 of Coins coming into your future energy. Again, it's in reverse. So both the 2 and the 3 of Coins here. The 3 of Coins is about creating more, adding to something, making something else. I mean, it can talk about teamwork as well, but it doesn't feel so much about teamwork today. It feels more, particularly because it's in reverse, You've got these 2 coins here, which are also these 2 coins here. So this is kind of a situation of, kind of here, if you look at these, if you look at the magician again, he's got this lemniscat, as it's known, or witch's cradle. It's kind of the infinity symbol of everything, kind of like having no ending and no beginning, a bit like the world energy here, where it all kind of blends together. But at the same time, kind of learning on a deeper level what the story's all about, what the journey's all about. And at this time, Scorpio, it feels as though there's still some learning, some growth. Like this one here that is being created doesn't feel as though it's, for some reason, I don't know why it's coming through like this, but for some reason it doesn't feel as though it's real. Like it hasn't actually come into being yet. It's still in the process of being brought into the physical world. Still in the process of being manifested. But it's in reverse. So it feels almost like a sense of kind of changing your mind about something. Again, I get this feeling of thinking that this is what you want, thinking that this is what's going to make you happy, this is what you're reaching for, with these 2, there's 2 of coins and 3 of coins. This is the ultimate goal, and the aim is just for material wealth and material like happiness, like having lots of stuff is how it's coming through. Just lots of stuff. Overindulgence of stuff, like lots of it, whether that's in the physical world or kind of out partying a lot, or it's that kind of energy of just like, let's just overdo it all at this time. But it doesn't feel, to me, with the 3 of coins, it doesn't feel like it's satisfying. It doesn't feel as though it's real. It doesn't feel as though it's actually like you're creating something worthwhile, or creating something that's going to be long lasting and beneficial to you. But then you have this card here, the Faith card. Also known as the Hierophant. And the Hierophant originally was known as the Pontifex, or the priest. And the Pontifex literally meant bridge. So it was like the bridge between the unseen world and the physical domain. It was that bridge between. And everything that we create in the physical world comes originally as a thought, an idea from that unseen world. There are people who believe that it's already been created previously before it actually comes down into the physical domain, and that's how it gets here in the first place. And so it feels as though this is you building that bridge, and it also feels that this is you kind of working more with this energy, like a kind of like a connection, like making a connection between it all. It doesn't have to be religious, because because faith can be very personal. Faith doesn't have to be any religion whatsoever. It can be a mixture of all different religions. However you feel, whatever your faith is, it's bringing that faith down into the physical reality, which is what kind of brings this manifestation about. And that's this next card here, which is again a page, but it's a page that has more substance to it here, I would say. This is about kind of grounding. This is about bringing things into your reality. This is about you working with rather than against, is how this is coming through. This is you working. It feels like you kind of opening up to some kind of higher, bigger energy force here, Scorpio, realizing that it is a part of you. It's not just outside of you, it's also within you. Which is kind of also this energy here, because if you think about it, the spider, as it creates its web, the web comes from within the spider. So it's this realization that you can't do it alone, in a way, that you need that. Like if you do, when you do go it alone, when you do try to kind of make something in your life or manifest something in your life, when you try to do it out of this kind of sense of your own ego, it just ends up in this kind of indulgent experience, which feels good, but it's not satisfying. Whereas the page of coins here is bringing in a more what's the word I'm looking for? Well, grounded, but also practical, stable side to life. The page is kind of saying, okay, I can manifest this coin. Well, once I get this coin here, what can I do with it? Where can I put it? How can I invest it? How can I make it grow for me? How can I make it become my future? How can I take what I have now, plant it in the present energy, and then reap the rewards of it, if you like, further down the line, and actually kind of enjoy my future, which is yet to come, in a more kind of grounded, connected way. Whereas this feels very kind of self-indulgent and very in some ways very just kind of dissatisfying, like an emptiness almost, even though it's got like this gold cornucopia down here and this, you know, it's kind of full of abundance, but it's all very, what's the word, illusionary, all very like it doesn't last. It's not a long-lasting happiness, it doesn't feel like, this one. It feels more like this kind of trickster energy, in fact, which is what the magician can be when he's in reverse as well, because it's not you in control. This is the puppet master, and you being the puppet, being led down this path. Scorpio is how it's kind of coming through here. And also at the at the bottom of the deck here as well, we have the High Priestess in reverse as well. So with the Magician and the High Priestess together, both very strong tarot, major tarot cards. The High Priestess is kind of saying to me in reverse that there's things that aren't being listened to. It's like you're not listening to your inner knowing, your deeper subconscious. You're not coming from that place, that which is this in a way. You're kind of, again, I'm going to go back to this kind of ego driven trickster. It is how it's coming through for me today, this kind of trickster energy. Because it's immature, because it's young. It's almost like that energy of kind of believing that you know best or you know better. Scorpio is how it's kind of coming through. Again, this could be, I mean, that is your past energy. So it could be recent past, it could be a past energy that's back from your childhood. It could be an energy that hasn't been allowed to mature yet, that you kind of got stuck in at some point and stayed in that kind of immature space. We have Justice here over the top of the World card, and Justice is in reverse. So that's interesting because there's a similarity here with the kind of swirlingness. Okay, so so what I'm seeing here is there's all this energy here, which I'm seeing as this kind of creative force, this creative energy. Which is kind of this energy here as well, which is how this is coming through. It's also, in a way, this Magician energy. It's that kind of thread of energy, that kind of force of life, if you like, the life force energy. But because it's in reverse, it feels as though justice was served, but it went against you rather than with you here in this card. You feel as though something was unfair, something was out of balance. If you see here, there's a spider, sorry, not a spider, a snake as well in the center of that card, and it's actually biting this hand, and there is actually blood running down that hand as well from the snake bite. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about this. It's almost like getting bitten by a situation or by a person, something that happened that didn't seem fair, it didn't seem balanced, and it caused disharmony and imbalance within yourself, Scorpio, and kind of threw you off kilter, threw you out of balance when it came to this Magician energy, put you in a place of, in a way, weakness, it feels, and possibly even like coming from more of a, again, it feels like that energy of something that was almost like this is the snake energy here, is how this is coming through now. As I was saying, this kind of trickster energy, but now it's kind of also feeling a bit like the snake energy, but it's also like the snake is part of yourself. The snake is the energy that you try to work with when it comes to this energy. This upside down energy is the trickster energy. The snake is the trickster energy. And somehow it's kind of kept you away from this actual creative force within yourself, or that connection with that source energy. The snake is coming through today for me as the kind of ego. Yeah, there's like this kind of feels like an experience, something that's had a big effect on you, Scorpio, that wasn't fair, it wasn't in your favor. And it could even kind of represent this kind of, you know, once bitten kind of energy that put you into a place of possible mistrust as well. Because you have it over the top of the World card with this full jumping into a new beginning, a new start. It's almost like you decided you were going to go against your own nature in a way. Almost like the sense of, well, it didn't work for me. I tried it that way before and it didn't work. Or you were becoming aware of something. It feels like something was trying to stop you from getting to a point of awareness. Is how it's coming through. I mean, showing you the card's probably not going to make any difference, but that's kind of what's coming through for me. With the Three of Wands over the top of the Magician here as well, in reverse. Again, for me, the Three of Wands can be a card of creativity, particularly in this deck. Because she's creating this energy, but again, it feels almost like working against rather than with the energy source, working against it. Scorpio, like possibly like your darker side, because Scorpio can have that darker energy. They are drawn to kind of the esoteric side of things as well. You could maybe have got caught up with your own ego as being the driving force here. Because it just feels like an energy of creation, but an energy that was kind of was a kind of self-centered, but that's kind of where it's coming from. It was like self-centered. It was very kind of focused on just your desires, what you wanted out of life. And that isn't always a bad thing, but it's the way that it's done that can have problems. If you turn it up the right way, you can see there's these three wands that she's put into this kind of triangle down here, and she's creating something magical coming up out of this fire, this creative energy, and it's very beautiful, but it's in reverse, so it doesn't feel as though it was particularly again, it feels more as though it was coming from the wrong energy. Again, magician, puppet master, puppet. Almost like it was fooling you into believing that this was the right. That this was right, that this was how you should create, how you should do things. To be very self-absorbed and what's the word I'm looking for here? It just feels like there's quite an underlying kind of darkness here, like a shadow energy. Because you also have, over the top of the Page of Wands, you have the Chariot in reverse as well. And when the Chariot comes out in reverse, it's basically saying that something was kind of stuck, and I feel as though this is the energy of this immature, coming from this immature place, coming from this like trickster type energy. Again, this could be somebody, a situation that was created around you, Scorpio, rather than you actually being the creator of it. Because it does feel as though possibly you weren't in control of it. Possibly that you gave your power away to it. But the Chariot is about not moving forward when it's in reverse. It's not being in the driver's seat. It's not being in charge of your own life. It's not being able to take control. Or if you are taking control, then you're not it's not running smoothly. It's not plain sailing. It's that's interesting as well, because there's a dove over the top of this car here as well, which is a symbol of Scorpio as well. Scorpio can be seen as a dove energy. it's in reverse again, so I just get a feeling that something, somewhere, somebody was kind of having more control over your life than you were, Scorpio. In quite a strong and intense way as well. Manipulative, actually, is the word that's coming through here. Or it could be that you wanted justice and you decided to take things into your own hands, and it didn't turn out very well, Scorpio. Didn't necessarily turn out the way that you wanted it to. For some of you, that could be the case. Because the Three of Wands can also talk about impatience as well, especially when it's in reverse, because it's normally a card of kind of patience and waiting for things to turn up in your life at the right time. It can also be about taking risks, but it's in reverse. It does feel as though somebody or something, some energy somewhere had more control. And it could just be an emotional energy as well. Like I was saying, it could just be that you were being driven by an emotional desire for justice, or possibly even revenge on something here. Or just the way that you were going about your life in general, Scorpio. Too many. I'm not taking all of them. Try again. So, Page of Swords and the Three of Chalices. Interestingly, you can see these three dancers here. Three of Cups often talks about wanting reconciliation with something. It can also talk about kind of getting to a point in your life where you have to either put your time and your energy emotionally into something, or you need to walk away, in the sense of you have that option. But there's also a reflection there in the water as well. It's coming out over the top of this Page of Swords. Which for me, the Page of Swords today is talking about needing to know, questioning, answers. There's also a kind of overindulgence or an indulgence in this card as well. for me today, kind of where they're all dancing and they're kind of throwing their wine or the champagne or whatever it is that they've got in their glasses. They're kind of just throwing it all over as if they have no need for it, or no. And there's this kind of whirling like whirlwind in the background, almost like they're not taking any notice of that. They're kind of oblivious to the fact that this is kind of in the background, and there's all these leaves that are caught up in it, and it feels like quite an emotional situation. Actually, this is coming through as quite a deep emotional, like this swirling. It's similar on some level to this Justice card here as well, this spiraling energy that kind of just keeps going round and round and round. Maybe that's got something to do with this energy here for you, this kind of needing to have answers on something that you're emotionally caught up in, or emotionally you can't find your way out of it. Scorpio. That you keep kind of getting, it feels like you keep getting caught up in it. Like it's something that you keep ending up going into. That kind of the center of it. I mean, Three of Chalices is about rejoicing and celebration, but it doesn't feel like particularly celebratory today. Almost again like these three dancers here are all doing the same thing. They're all dancing to the same tune, to the same dance. They're all kind of in step with each other. Almost feels like in a kind of like they're all kind of oblivious is what's coming through to this kind of storm that maybe they're helping to create it. I don't know, but there's a kind of sense of like just keeping in step, keeping in line, keeping in formation, or like not stepping out of line. Sense of keeping something going is how that's coming through today. But it's kind of similar, I'm getting a similar kind of vibe with this Cup card here as well. It's kind of whirling up all this emotion and kind of overindulgence and not really knowing what you're doing or where you're going, or kind of relying on other people to keep you in check or in line, or and it feels almost like hypnotic, trance-like. So over the top of this Two of Coins, we have the Transformation and Change card, the Death card. The wake-up call, in a way, it feels like. It also feels like a distraction with this card as well. Like being distracted by something so that you're not aware of something bigger that's going on in the background, Scorpio. Like don't look over there, look over here. And again, it's kind of this wanting to have answers. It's over the top of this needing to know whatever this situation is about. But there is this bigger, deeper, transformational. I mean, this is the death card. This is Pluto energy. This is your energy, Scorpio, that is taking place at the very centre of this reading here as well, over this Two of Coins. And when you look at this card up the right way, you can see that he's kind of walking down this path. He's walking towards this big yellow, shining, ornamental thing, whatever it is. But above his hands, he's got both of these kind of pentacle coins, which he's kind of keeping elevated. He's kind of, but that's when it's up the right way. And it feels as though in reverse, it's kind of saying that you're walking towards something possibly you have no control over, that you don't know is coming. But it is this big change, this big transformation. This sudden kind of seeing things. In the cold light of day, in a way, is how it's kind of coming through. And this rose is kind of representing your energy here, Scorpio. Like something within is dying in order for something new to be reborn. It's almost like you're walking down this path. Again, it feels like, you know, without really knowing where you're going, what you're doing, kind of distracted. Watching everything else around you and not aware of the storm that's coming, that's in the background. But this is leading you towards something much bigger, this transformational energy. And another thing here as well is that in this card he's naked. This individual is naked. He's not wearing any clothes, so he's not hiding anything. There's no kind of barriers between him and the truth, between him and this transformation, this evolutionary process which is taking place here. He's not putting up a struggle. It doesn't feel as though he's hiding anything, literally, because he can't. And it just feels as though he's walking towards this light as well, but maybe without realising that that's what he's doing, or maybe without you realising that's what you're doing, Scorpio. Again, it doesn't have to be a he, male, female. It's not gender specific. We all have both within us. Nine of Cups. And the Five of Wands. Over the top of the Nine of Cups energy, you have the Five of Wands, and today the Five of Wands, well, always, I mean, it's upright, so that's positive, even though it is like this energy of clashing, of, it feels like possibly even two sides of your nature here as well, kind of not, because the Five of Wands is inner conflict. It's conflict within yourself. It's about doubting yourself, doubting your worthiness, your abilities. So it's facing yourself, the Five of Wands. It's facing your own fears. And also realizing that at some point, realizing that the only person that you can fully rely on is yourself. Because each of these characters here looks exactly like each other. It's like they're all kind of aspects of yourself that you're in conflict with at this time with this Nine of Cups. And maybe this is also why I'm feeling that this isn't a particularly happy Nine of Cups today, that this is more about this sense of, again, it could be to do with distraction, trying to distract yourself from this energy here, from this kind of need to find some harmony, is how it's coming through, Scorpio. Finding some harmony, some balance within. Fighting your own demons is really what's coming through. And possibly also stopping yourself from being distracted from it. Because the more you ignore it, kind of the bigger it becomes. So that's why I feel with this Nine of Cups that it is all about kind of illusion. Like an illusionary happiness. But it's not real, because it's not coming from this place within you where you feel content with yourself, where you are at peace with who you are, Scorpio. Kind of all those different aspects of you are working together rather than working against each other, which again is, I feel, this Magician energy here. This sense of imbalance, distortion, disharmony, which you may be aware of, but it's possibly also why you overindulge in the good life, in the good things of life, because you don't want to recognize it, do anything about it. Even though it is changing, you are changing, you are going through a transformation here on a much deeper level, Scorpio. Pluto in Capricorn will be sextile your sign, and it will be having a big effect, particularly if you're the later stages of Scorpio energy. And Pluto, of course, has also just gone retrograde. So it is going to go back across where it's already been up until 6th of October, I believe. So from the 4th of January onwards, Scorpio is going to go back, sorry, Pluto is going to go back to that same point where it was on the 4th of January 2021 up to the 6th of October. It will then come out, it will have done and gone backwards and forwards 3 times by the 6th of October. So 7 of Wands and the Tower. Over the top of this 3 of Coins, which is what I feel is this kind of illusionary energy that's kind of possibly even part of this death and rebirth. As I was saying, it's kind of in the process, it's not manifested. It doesn't feel like it's manifested, it's manifesting, it's not coming into your life the way that you want it to. So we also have the 7 of Wands in reverse here as well. So the 7 of Wands talks about kind of, it can sometimes be a card of being guarded, like trying to keep other people's energy at bay, protecting your own energy, standing up for what you believe in. But in this particular card, it's also kind of about taking, like leapfrogging over these posts, possibly to try and get to this safety. Because it's like out in the water. Again, there's this kind of stormy kind of feel about this card as well, this kind of spiral, this whirling kind of, it feels like something possibly from your past, from your background, from your past energy that you're maybe trying to kind of stay ahead of rather than letting it catch up with you, Scorpio. Here it feels as though you're kind of having to make all these kind of risky, dodgy maneuvers to try and leap from here to here to here to here to here to here, kind of get to that kind of dry land, safety, security. And having to take risks, not know if you're going to make it. And there's also something about this spinning as well, here. There's something spinning into existence. But over the top of the 7 of Wands, we have the Tower energy. And this is an interesting Tower card, because the lightning doesn't actually strike anything. It's there. It is there in the card. You can see the lightning down the side of the card there, but it's not actually affecting the tower, the building there. In fact, it looks more like it's coming out of the edge of that. It could be striking the cliff actually, because the building looks like it's on a cliff, on the edge of a cliff. And it could actually be striking the edge of the cliff, which means that the cliff could collapse and the building could collapse with it and bring it down. Which could also be to do with this Seven of Wands, of you trying to kind of stay ahead of it. I believe it was in reverse. But you're trying to stay ahead, it feels, of this collapsing. I mean, this is big energy. We've got Death, we've got Tower. Like something collapsing around you. And buildings, for me, the structure of the building is kind of like, it represents your energy of everything that you've kind of created around yourself up to this point. Everything that you believed was true, relied on, was kind of your go-to place, if you like. It's like each one of those bricks that has created that house has also kind of created a structure around you. So you now can only kind of, on some level, you've conformed in a way. It's like restricting, it's like stopping you from being able to kind of have that sense of freedom, which is what this orange thing down here is kind of looking at me as, this kind of tunnel out of it into the kind of, almost like kind of feels like kind of birthing in a way, going down that tunnel, this kind of sense of rebirthing, that as this tower falls, as it comes down around you, it's all your past, which is what this really represents here, is stripped away, is kind of removed from you, which is actually you doing this as well, Scorpio. This is another thing about the tower, is it's not, although it's the lightning striking from outside, it's you kind of creating situations in your life that are going to make this lightning hit this tower, because you have got to a point where you can't grow anymore. You've become so kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Trapped in this kind of conformed, like maybe idea of society, or how you are as a person, your personality, or it's almost like, you know, something that has to break down, completely be broken down, broken out of, released from. And that's how it's feeling. It's feeling almost like, and it's like this darkness, like this darker part of your life or your history, your past, something that you could have been carrying with you. But it's like going into this tunnel as this collapses. It's like releases something. It releases you, and you then head like via the water. It's kind of like, you know, you are taken through this tunnel. And I'm also seeing that as this energy here as well, like coming out the other side with this new kind of understanding of yourself and the bigger picture of how life works and what it's all about. And that it doesn't have to be, like, faith doesn't have to be conformist. It doesn't, as I was saying earlier, it doesn't have to be, religion is not necessarily the same as faith. So it's not about kind of being controlled or restricted in that sense anymore. It's about finding your faith, your inner faith, what it is that you personally hold true in your heart. what makes you feel connected to everything else, what makes you go with the flow of everything else. Scorpio is how this is coming through for me. So big changes, Scorpio, big changes, but I'm not surprised with Pluto going retrograde, being your personal planet. Big changes on a deep transformational level. Evolutionary change. Death in the Tower in one reading is pretty damn huge. So you have the Nine of Wands here as well, and then in reverse. So the Nine of Wands is saying you have to let go of all of this stuff, all this burden, everything that you've been carrying. You need to drop it, you need to let it go. You can't carry it any longer. And it's linked with this Three of Wands here as well. Whatever it is that you're carrying from this time here, whatever this was about for you, Scorpio, it feels as though this energy here is kind of clinging. It's like still clinging to you somehow. If you see, he was literally covered in all those flowers. And this is part of the kind of setting yourself free energy as well with this Tower. Letting it go, letting it go, letting it flow. Right, letting that burden, whatever that is that you're still carrying, in this future energy. Because the major arcana cards as well, both the Death card and the Tower card here, are also long-lasting energies. That's the thing about major arcanas, is they are longer lasting energies than the minor arcanas. So they can take a lot longer for the process to actually come into being, for it all to actually finalize in a way, for it all to be cleared out, which is kind of what this feels like is happening here. And over the top of this Page of Coins energy, which I feel is much more stability, much more grounding, you being much more honest with who you are, knowing what it is that you want, knowing how you are going to make it happen. We have the Two of Wands, which is literally a card of like this creative energy. But it feels like this time you are in control of it. It's upright. It's like you've learnt the lesson. Whatever the lesson was that you had to learn through this journey, you are learning that lesson, you are growing, you are realizing that this is your energy that creates, that you are the creator. You and the source energy are creating together. And this is what the Two of Wands is saying for me here. There's also two towers in the background here as well. So there's this kind of connection between these two wands there and those two towers there, of being like this stable energy, this stable creative energy. Yeah, very solid, very, it just feels very much more open and honest. And yeah, just this sense of looking forward to enjoying what it is that you're going to create here, Scorpio. And working with as well, because I'm kind of seeing this same energy here, but it's different. It's like this is the creative energy that you were kind of cut off from before for some reason. It's like there it is, it's coming out the top of that wand there. This is you and Source working together. And you also have at the bottom of this deck, I've just noticed as well, you have the Sun card upright as well. So this is very much about happiness, joy, creativity, bringing it out into the light, just illuminating your own like wonderment, and it just feels like huge creativity. If you look at that card, it's like full of all these different colours, and it's all kind of creatively bleeding into the future in a way, is how it's feeling. Like this is source energy, is how it's coming through. That this is, all of that is source energy. All of this is there for you to create amazingly kind of wonderful, beautiful kind of landscapes and a future. And kind of the future is bright in a way. So let's see quickly what the Abraham link cards, Abraham, don't know where that came from. Guidance of Esther and Abraham Hicks was what I meant to say. Don't know where links came from. Linking into something, possibly. It kind of feels as though you're going from working with a dark energy, which was possibly an outside energy, possibly your own energy that was kind of not in a good place, shall we say, to this realization that it doesn't make you happy. Okay, so to receive what I want, I must not push against unwanted. So this is an expanding universe. It's kind of this card here. And all things must be allowed in order, in other words, for you to understand and experience what you desire, you must understand that which you do not desire. For in order to be able to choose and focus, both must be present and understood. So that kind of feels like your journey, in fact, Scorpio. And that you've kind of reached that point of understanding what you don't desire, because it's not made you happy. And now you are getting to the point where you know what you do. So it's taking your focus off of that you don't desire and putting it onto what you do desire, because if you keep focusing on what you don't desire, you're going to get more of what you don't want, is really what this card is saying, because that's how it works. I'll quickly show you that side as well. So the light's changed in the room again, so it's all got a bit more glary. There you go, for those of you who want to read it or screenshot it. So lastly, let's see if we can get a crystal for you, Scorpio. These readings have gone on quite long today. So a card please for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising and cusp energy of Scorpio. I will just say before I forget as well, that if there are cross-watchers who are interested in watching this because, or have been watching it because they're in a relationship with a Scorpio, or know a Scorpio that they want to have a relationship with, or have been in a relationship with one, just be aware that this energy can be your reading as well. This could be your story that's being told here, or you could very much be a part of what you're hearing as well. So if it resonates, if you know what it's saying, then take what it says. If not, then just let it go. If it's not your story, it's not your story. Some things may seem like they are, and some things may not. So some of it may fit and some of it might not. It's just how it works. So a crystal card please for Scorpio. Crystal card please for Scorpio. So yeah, well, I feel that Scorpio, as you kind of come to that realization for yourself, that it will make a huge difference and things will fall into place for you. As you realize that you are co-creating rather than creating from your own energy. But co-creating from something that is a part of who you are, as well as a part of everything else connected to it all, like the spider's web. Card for Scorpio please. Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising and cusp. Can we have a card please? No card for Scorpio. No card for Scorpio. Why is that then? No card for Scorpio. Card for Scorpio, please. Card for Scorpio. Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising. They really don't want to give me a card. Maybe I should try something else. Card for Scorpio, one last. Really not. why not? Crystal for Scorpio. Crystal for Scorpio. Which Scorpio card should Scorpio be working with at this time? Which is the best card for Scorpio to work with at this time? Best crystal for Scorpio. There we go. Moldavite. Appearances. Green. I would say that's probably heart chakra energy. 27. Yeah, heart chakra. Colour is green. So, hurtling through space, red hot to the melting point, cutting through the atmosphere and plunging deep within the earth, because Moldavite comes from outer space. Finally coming to rest, feeling the cool of the earth around us as we move into a solid state, so different than we were in our former home. There we were in constant motion, a moving, active substance. Here we are still and quiet. We are aliens here, strangers to your planet. It was our mission to make a very long journey to serve as confirmation for you that other worlds exist. The elements in our bodies are entirely different than those of Earth. It was known that scientists familiar with Earth materials would recognise that we came from the stars. Our external selves are very different from our internal selves. The outer opaque rivulets on our body were created by the heat we experienced on our entry. Obscured by our outer selves, our inner selves are a clear, unclouded green. We would be judged as gemstone quality by your earth standards. It is a beautiful stone as well. When Moldavite is polished, it is a gorgeous stone. Our core is unflawed and clear, but it is hidden by our outer self. It is not the same with you. Your smile belies the pain within. A ravished face may mask the beauty of the soul. A crippled body may disguise untapped abilities. Our message for you is about appearances. For example, your star brothers and sisters are quite different from you in body shape and substance. Though different on the outside, all entities spring from the same universal source of love. External appearances have nothing to do with the reality of any situation. What is important is the kernel of truth that lies at the heart. To see beyond appearances is to look the homeless man in the eye and see the prince. To look beyond appearances is to touch the face of God, source, universe, universal energy, however you prefer to call it. Within, beyond all outer shells, you are pure of heart, and so are all your kin throughout the universe. Yes, there has been distortion of the basic principles of love, truth, and honour. But underneath it all, when everything else is stripped away, the pure soul appears. Millions of dollars are spent each year around the world to glorify outer appearances, regardless of the industry, cosmetics, fashion, plastic, surgery, or weight loss. The approach is to fix the external and achieve happiness, but none of it is long-lasting. If the inner self needs nourishment, no amount of feeding the outer will satisfy it. The inner self is the self of beauty, a beauty that has nothing to do with the shape of a face, smooth skin, or a trim body. When will you see it, friends? It pains us to see you in such misery. We assist your heart chakra by helping you accept the alien within yourself. This is the person inside that you deny. This is this card here, I feel. Whose face or behaviour you try to hide. Even the word appearances gives you the clue. To appear implies what something seems to be, not what it is. Do not be fooled by appearances. Look beyond them and within. Reach out to those you would have turned away from before. There will be one day when you will remember the description of your journey from the stars. You will have a similar experience. Your spirit and your soul will be set free, and you will leave your physical body behind. That is the point when the outer and inner selves will totally merge. There will be no confusion about which is the real you. You will be pure light and pure love. All beings will look the same, for in truth we are, even now. Only appearances fool us into thinking that we are different and separate. It is an illusion. We are one. Love is everywhere. Do not miss it, just because it is hiding behind an unattractive exterior. If you look with your heart's eyes, you will see it shining through. Sisters and brothers, we love you. So that's quite interesting, because I feel as though it's kind of talking about the transformation that is taking place within yourself here, Scorpio, on a deeper level of your kind of inner becoming your outer. So I'm going to leave the reading there and say thank you very much for watching and listening to this video. If you have enjoyed it, if you have got anything from it, if it has helped you in any way, if you have learnt anything, please could you thumbs it up for me, because it really helps me to get the video out into the bigger YouTube world where the algorithms pick it up. It's all down to algorithms, which is why YouTube creators always go on about thumbsing up all our videos. Also, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please could you also do that as well. I would really, really, really love to have you here and really appreciate you being here. To those of you who have done that already and have liked my videos, thank you. I really do appreciate it enormously. So there is a subscription button either on the video or underneath the video. I have no control over that. It just seems to be wherever it is. And if you tap that, you will get the bell, should I say, that's what I'm trying to say. The bell will appear, which you can tap and decide as to whether or not you want to get the videos when I put them out. Also, there is a playlist as well on my channel where you can go and look at other videos as well. If anything resonates with you, there's no time, there's no date, because crap happens all the time. So it could be your video whenever it makes sense to you. So if there's anything there that kind of jumps out at you title wise, then give it a listen, and if it does make any sense to you, then it's your video at this time. If it resonates, then that's great. Please also thumbs them up as well if you do watch any others. Also, please share it with anybody else who you may feel like sharing it with. I do all the full moon, new moon and zodiac signs as well. I haven't been here for a while because I have had a major square Saturn with my Mercury and my Mars, so everything kind of stopped. It was just like time to just kind of not try and force anything, so I didn't. And that's now finished, and I'm back doing more videos as well. So please join me on my journey of growing my channel and putting out my messages. Please, they're not normal kind of tarot messages. They're sometimes controversial. Hopefully they're interesting, and you do kind of learn something from them. So with all that being said, Scorpio, I'm going to wish you all the best and say please take really good care of yourselves and take good care of anybody else around you at this time who you can, and hopefully I will see you again soon.